Good morning. It's Wednesday, May 19th. I'm on my roof up here. I'm going to try to get my solar panels rinsed off. They're pretty dusty. And I'm going to make this for the architectural committee, anybody involved with the HOA, anything to do long-term planning, architectural committee, whatever, social committees. You got so many committees. I'm up here on my roof and I'm going to try to give a rundown of what I perceive as encumbrances on my property. This property is a golf course property, and here in Buckeye that means the golf course property, whatever way they choose to operate their golf facility here, their golf amusement park, half driving range, half driving range, half practice facility. What I've gone through in the last 15 years has been a lot of harassment and from the HOA, any HOA administrator, anything I did to my yard, I was immediately sent a letter. We had two slave chasers out here by the name of Chuck Milosevic and Wayne Blair. One has a girlfriend across the street from me. The other one lives down at the end of the street. Maybe you can see that down there, but they kept a close eye on me. A pretty tight leash. Anything I did to my lot, I was immediately turned in. Okay? And especially if I chirped. I started chirping when I got here and there was no golf cart access to the 6th tee box from parcel 12. When I signed the papers on December 7th, 2003, there was a golf cart path going from the tee box up to parcel 12, but the track hadn't been completed yet. Track day hadn't been completed. As soon as I got my first letter of non-compliance, I reacted by questioning chirping. I reacted by questioning the HOA's authority to run track day as a private entitlement for some colonial types that come here when the weather's nice. Okay? They either rent or they use it themselves, but they're not here. They're snowbirds. The encumbrance on my equity for my lot is, in order to keep these snowbirds happy and content and able to sleep at night when they're not here, we have to close track day to golf carts. Track day was liberated for about 2 years. It was liberated where golf carts could use it. But there was only a few people. In that 2 years, we didn't have any turnover in the neighborhood. The people who were influenced by the golf gods out here, and they know who I'm talking about, the people who are high up in the men's club, high up in the golfing fraternity out here, the people that go out and play every day together. I see them every day, constant routine. Before they opened that up, before they dug it out, track day, it had a letter against it for almost a year and a half before they ever turned a shovel of dirt on it. Then they dug it out and they filled it with crushed stone. But because they had made the pitch of it correct, all that water ran through that crushed stone and it started eroding around the tee box. So it had to be fixed. They're fixed. Their cob job to fix it was to put a threshold at the end of track day. There's a threshold. In the middle of track day, it's about a foot under the house. It has to be a foot, at least 12 inches under the house on lot 317, and it is. But at the end, there's a threshold. What happens, say in a 3 or 4 day storm event here, which we often get, where it'll rain softly or steady for 3 or 4 days, and then at the end we'll get a monsoon with lots of wind and lots of rain. Okay, track day in the corner of 317, 318, 233rd Drive and Twilight Trail is a sponge if it rains softly for 2 days, because there's no route anywhere for water to get off the corner. Everything is uphill to the golf course from the corner. That track day easement is supposed to be paved and pitched till any water that lands on it automatically runs onto the course. That doesn't happen. So for 3 days, this whole corner turns into a wetlands, a swamp. No water has gotten out, if you understand. Well, on the 4th day, and I see it like March 13th of 2020 was a perfect example. In about 20 minutes, so much water dropped, and we had rain a couple days before, so the ground was saturated. It couldn't hold any more water, and then we got a flash deluge that lasted about 25 minutes, but in that 25 minutes, we had hail, rain, deluge, and that's what carved that crevice. See, and that's why it had to be closed to golf carts. The first crevice was carved in about the August of 2018 or 2017. We had a storm in the middle of August, a monsoon, and again, because we had days of rain, that one monsoon storm overwhelmed the threshold and cut a crevice. Well, they fixed it. In 2 years, they finally fixed it. They patched up the crevice. It went away. And then what happened was they realized that that crevice was caused by the golf carts. You only got a couple of guys up in that neighborhood, new people that are using it. Gary and the guy across the street from him, I think they're from Wisconsin, started using it. Well, what was happening, every time that threshold got run over by a golf cart, it got compressed, it got lowered. What happened was, they realized in August, if we keep allowing golf carts to go down through here, they're going to destroy the threshold. They're going to keep lowering the threshold so the water's going to be able to get out early. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid the water gets out early on a steady basis and threatens that tee box. Okay, so we have to do something. First of all, we're gonna put a sign in rock. We're gonna have a lost cause movement. That sign that's at the end of track day that says no golf carts, it's the stars and bars. Okay, it's the Ku Klux Klan. It's any other iconic symbol from any other fraternal outfit you want to put on is in that sign, because that's what happened. That's how we lost, the people in Parcel 12 lost track day as a drain. Track day becomes a swamp. We have terrible fly problems. If we have a lot of wet weather, track day and the houses and the lots on each side of it get so soaked with rain, and when when the threshold finally gets breached, there's a lake in Tract A, a retention lake that isn't going anywhere. As soon as it drops below the threshold where the crevice is, it's just going to sit there and soak in. It can't get out. It's landlocked again. So that's my little spiel. And I want to send this to the architectural committee, the town, everything else. Right now, that crevice at the end of Tract A has been there for over a year. It was carved March 13th. It's now May 19th. Okay, March, April, May. Okay, it's been about 14 months, over 14 months, and all the rounds that have been played by people on the board, people on the men's club, Andy's staff, you've all played golf here. Everybody, Larry, Paul, all of you, you play golf here every day, and you go out and you look at this pristine, beautiful, well-kept, manicured golf course when you get on the 6th tee box. But if you turn around and look north, what do you see? Are you blind? There's the Grand Canyon there. Kind of looks out of place, doesn't it? How can you puff your chest out and beat your chest out over having such a pristine golf course when you've got a Grand Canyon at the end of a walking easement? I consider it a failure of leadership in the town, the HOA, anybody that's got anything to do with the civil engineering out here. It's a failure of leadership. Tract A is an emergency ingress and egress. It was meant to be. It's supposed to drain. It's supposed to be for all of our use. If I'm a member here, I have ownership, partial ownership of that. But my partial ownership doesn't supersede my neighbor's partial ownership, where they got more than, they took their half out of the middle. They took their half out of the middle. The old saying, my father and my mother's old saying. That's what Dan Veskerna did when he put his rods in the middle of the road. Okay, the deal was already made at City Hall. You can have your sign now. We'll close it off to golf carts. We're going to close it off now so that you can sell it and tell the seller that forever and ever he'll never see a golf cart. The rest of us are enslaved. That's another encumbrance on me. The fact that I have to sell this house and tell people they have to drive 400 or 500 yards to the west to go a mile to the east to the clubhouse or the adult facility in 115, 117 degree heat, while these snowbirds from out of town are back home enjoying 75, 80 degree summer weather. We're out here 115 degree heat, and they can sleep at night because they know no golf carts are going by their house. And the first thing they do when they get here, the first day they get here, is leave their garage door open, and we've got a hall monitor for the rest of the time they're here. Okay? Now, when I get people trespassing on me on a daily basis, hitting balls in my yard, breaking my windows, if I chirp, if I call the clubhouse, if I call the police, if I talk to the HOA, the first response is, it was an accident. It was unintentional. It was an accident. And you bought a house on a golf course. Well, these people bought a house on an access easement, a full 24/7 multi-use access easement. For you people on the architectural committee, the long-term planning committee, for you to keep looking at that crevice, that crack at the end of Tract A and blindly brush it up under the rug. Sometimes somebody at night could walk down through there and fall in that and break their neck. I came from an industry, I worked on airplanes for 30 years, 35 years under my belt as an airplane mechanic and avionics technician, okay? Safety was everywhere. People got their hands crushed. They've lost their fingers. They got electrocuted. Some guy even died in San Francisco when he didn't heed the warning. He didn't know what was going on when they closed the gear in the hangar. They had the plane jacked up. When they closed the gear, he got caught in the gear. And if they would have brought him out, let the gear down and let him out, it would have killed him. So they knew he was going to die. They brought in his wife to say goodbye and her family. He had a couple hours or an hour to linger before he finally died. Okay? So in that industry, because of all the pinch points, burn points, electrical points, everything else, movement, surface movements and stuff with a lot of people around the airplane, there's a code of safety. 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 And we're taught to anticipate a bad situation. If you see a cord laying in where somebody's walking, you pick it up. If you see anything, you're protecting the field. Now, where I'm going with this is the field's not being protected over here on track day. Everybody on the board, the town, the civil engineers in the town don't want to go near this legacy. What I call it is Jackie Mack's legacy. Jackie Mack, Charlie Waters, the old board, Hancock, and then what morphed into Meritage, went from Hancock to Meritage. I got caught up in all that. And one of the definitions on looting is looting takes place wherever there's transition, wherever there's movement and transition. Well, the movement and transition that took place out here 18, 20 years ago when they brought in the operating engineers and they started laying out utilities, the first thing they did is they had a powwow, a tribal knowledge powwow. You could probably bring in 5 or 6 fraternities along with that powwow and a bunch of townies and some budget cautious bean counters. And the budget conscious bean counters understood that if we build track day per the plan, and that plan wasn't made here in Buckeye, that's a New York City plan. That's a plan that you'd put in Long Island or New York City, where you got all these common areas where people are rubbing elbows, where people, when they buy a house on an access easement, they have to live with it. I have to live with people putting balls in my yard and people walking in my yard all day. And when I say anything about it, the first thing out of anybody's mouth who's in authority is, why don't you sell? If you don't like it here, why don't you move? These are the rules. Well, that's civil rights. I just want to let everybody know in YouTube land how civil rights work on a golf course. Now, I have a lot to do today. I'm wasting a lot of time. I've wasted now 20 minutes trying to explain to the people on the board who are having trouble with who I am, where I am, and what I do in my property. Okay? Now, my property line, the corner of my property has an out of bounds marker right on the corner. So the out of bounds comes right up to my property line. You have one there, down there, and the golf course takes the liberty of bringing that up right to the property line, bringing their golf course to my property line. And I'll swing down, I'll look at the other post, we'll try to get a low, right there you see that white post on my property line. Now, as a golfer, I know a little bit about golf, but you understand this area between the cart path down here and my property line where the plants are, that's no man's land for the golf course. The golf course, those 2 trees right there haven't been touched in about 3 years. Okay? about 4 years ago, the second tree in the back was just tiny. It was only a couple feet high. Look at it now. Why? Because the golf course won't trim it. So they have nothing to do with maintaining this up here. Okay, this whole part, but they're allowed to use it as golf course. All right, right up to my property line. Now, my logic is, if they're gonna get full use of their ownership, their equity, and what they own here, well, I own up to that property line. I own up to that plant. I own up to those white stakes. And if I sit out there and have a conversation on my property line right there, I'm about 20 feet or 25 yards, 15, 20 yards from the women who are teeing off. And if I'm having a conversation or playing a radio or something like that, these women get out and they start taking pictures of me with their cell phone. I'm out of place for them. What are you doing up there? Why are you there talking? Why are you there watching us? What are you doing there? You don't belong there. What do you mean I don't belong here? You're telling me I don't belong here? I pay taxes, lots of taxes, and lots of dues to be able to sit out here. This is my space. Your space is down there. Okay? Why are you questioning me about what I'm doing on my property? Okay? Now, I'm trying to get across to the Architectural Committee because of that storm in March. Because of that storm in March, and I'm going to send you the video, okay? My lot flooded. And I wasn't satisfied with the job I had done up to that point because I had to order some rock, some what they call Sundance blend to finish a job a year ago. And they brought me 3 tons, 1 ton of rock, 1 ton of sand, and 1 ton of pea gravel. So I'm obsessive compulsive about drainage because this property line from start over there to finish right there is high. All the way to the road, all the way to Sundance Parkway. They built it high. I have the as-built plans, I'll send them to you. But everything is high. And then it's high from my property line to try to get the water onto the golf course because it's high ground. Instead of the water, my lots were built as retention basins. Okay? Now, what I've been trying to do since March, the March storm and COVID hit about the same time. So this little, where I am right now and what I've been doing with my yards has been a COVID desperation. Okay? I wanted to get all the surface rock sifted. And I got a byproduct. Every time you sift it twice, you get a byproduct, 2 byproducts. You get sand and pebbles, and then you get good rock that you can actually put on top of landscape fabric. Okay? That's what I've been doing. That's why it's all tore up. I should be down there working, but I'm trying to explain to you. And off in the distance, what you see is all those sandbags. Okay? I'm being attacked. I get shelled every day. This might as well be I-Corps Vietnam. Okay? It is. Interdiction harassment flare. Where that tee box is, when they put it over all the way back and to the left, and all the tee boxes on this hole are in range of my house. I'm down range and in range. That's an encumbrance. Not only can't I use track day for my golf cart, which kills the value of my house when I have to tell somebody they got to go the long way. They got to use the public access easement. They got to go out to tee box number 7 and use the public access easement onto the golf course. Okay? You gutted me when you put that sign up. That sign is the Confederate flag. It represents the Lost Cause movement. When Jackie Mick got elected in August 2 years ago, his first order of business was put your sign back up. Closed track day. You can now run it the way you want it. You bought it fair and square. You own it fair and square. You stole it fair and square. That tee box is yours, and now the Vesgernas and the Marinos can put those houses on the market and get top dollar for them. Why? Because people have been waiting in the wings for months, just waiting for them to get those signs put up. As soon as you get that sign put up, you give me a call and I'll give you a cash offer for that place. But you got to get rid of that access easement first. That's redneck. That's Midwest redneck bottom fisherman talking right there, okay? Now, I'll continue this later, but I got to wash my solar panels. They're filthy, a mess. But every time I have a camera out, whether it's on that corner up here or whatever, the women just freak out. These women are going, "What are you doing up there?" What am I doing up there? I happen to own this property. Do you own that tee box? Do you own that tee box? You haven't got any word to tell me that I can't sit up here and play the radio and talk to my friends, okay, or read a book without having to worry about you challenging me, that I'm disturbing you, okay? This is Golf Rash. This is Golf Rash. This is miniature golf. This is arena golf. This is like, you ever heard of NASCAR? If you're not rubbing, you're not racing. If you're not being rubbed by golfers, if you ain't got a ball in your yard, if we don't put a ball in this guy's yard every morning, we can't live with ourselves. We want to make sure he gets hit or he wants something in his yard. We want a ball in his yard at least 1 or 2 a day. That's what I'm dealing with. That kind of mentality, okay? And it's no fault insurance for them. They got the cops, the HOA, everybody to tell. If I bring a cop out here, which I have several times, the first thing that policeman, that young man is trained to say is, you realize this was an accident? You realize it was unintentional? You really don't have any grounds to complain? You bought a house on a golf course? I mean, what do you expect? Well, I expect the golf course to use some safety, okay? Getting back to the industry I was in, every time we had our daily briefing, the last thing that was done was almost a prayer by the foreman or the person running the shop. He's got 15, 20 people under him that are going to be climbing all over an active airplane all day, and the first thing out of his mouth is, let's be cognizant, let's be safe, watch out for each other, watch each other's back, let's not have any injuries, let's not have any lost fingers, let's not have any broken arms, let's not see anybody get electrocuted. We owe that to each other, okay? That type of thought on this golf course, we have punks. We have golf punks that when you say you're putting golf balls in my yard every day, and one of them broke my window. There, you see how they're taking a video of me? They do this every time. They take a video of me. Every time they see me up there, they think that my yard is their golf course, that I can't do anything in my yard, okay? I can sit out there. I have a right to sit out there on my yard without being photographed. And these are women that go through, these are your, what do I want to call them? Your right wing. They haven't got anything better to do than play golf every day. That's all they care about. That's how deep they are. All right? They play golf every day and they criticize everybody, and I'm sure they're going to go back and tell everybody now what he's been doing. And that's why last week I got this vague, ambiguous, it was the epitome of ambiguity, this letter from Caroline Clinton. She sent me a letter and fined me $50, and there was nothing in that letter specific. No picture, no description, anything. All she said is, your yard, you've been doing stuff to your yard. So here's a $50 fine for not talking to us before you do it. This is my yard. I have a drainage problem. This is the tip of the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg. Wait until I start getting the paperwork out and see what you did to my house over there. I got gangbanged by a bunch of rednecks out here. Buckeye Townies. Alright? Buckeye Townies that Planet of the Apes. These apes decided to change the master plan for the community. They said, we don't want New York City here in our community. We don't want New York City. What we want is, we're going to set up a plantation. We're going to have a hierarchy, a pecking order. There's going to be 2 residences in parcel 12 that are going to be more equal than all the 61 other residents. Because they're going to have that tract all to themselves as a privacy corridor. Okay? And when that sign went up after it was liberated, me going to jail got it liberated. I think the legal beagles here in Buckeye said, Jesus, we threw him in jail. We violated his civil rights. We threw him in jail on a warrant that wasn't ever served. And from what I've heard from a policeman telling my neighbor on a police tape, on an interview, the guy says, until you're served, no warrant or anything is legal. But I got thrown in jail for 4 days for missing a court date. And when I got out of court, the judge waved the summons in my face and said, of course you didn't know about it. You never received it. It's right here. More or less in your face. That's telling me we're outside the 12-mile limit. You're in Buckeye. Okay? Outside the 12-mile limit. We don't have to observe your civil rights. You came here from the East Coast. You got this attitude that you don't like us. You want to turn that neighborhood over. You want to switch the neighborhood from a plantation model where a few outsiders, or colonial visitors, like they come here when the weather's nice, they stay, and then we have to go the long way in 116-degree heat. They're not here when it's 116. They're here when it's nice. But we have to go the long way, and my neighbors, I can't believe it, my neighbors go along with this. It's like they're drinking the Kool-Aid. They're goose-stepping. They've been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed. We shouldn't have that common area. It's going to cause a security problem in our neighborhood. Security problem. Let me tell you the security problem I have. I got people walking on my yard, on my patio. I've gotten in fights with people. I've been assaulted by people. Everything else because of where those tee boxes are. You know why? Because they don't have a safety briefing every morning. You think Andy comes out? Do you think Andy cares whether one of my visitors, like a child or another visitor or one of my solar panels, you think Andy cares if they're at risk all day? He doesn't care. He don't care. We got the police, we got everybody in town that's telling that owner, that resident, that he bought a house on a golf course. It was an accident. Yeah, it isn't an accident. This isn't your father's golf, Andy. This is millennial golf. These are young guys that think that they can buy a golf game. They go and buy the most expensive thing. They go to some electronics outfit where the guy's mapping their swing speed and everything else like that. And they get a driver that it tells them that they can hit it 300 yards. That's all they care about. Nobody cares about scoring. Everybody wants to have the longest drive all day. When they get in the clubhouse, he's got a scorecard that he threw away in the third hole because he was up to about 20. All right? Why even keep score anymore? But all he cared about was hitting the longest drive. And when he got in having his beer, he goes, "You see that drive I hit in number 17? Huh? Did you see that? Do you see that drive I drove everybody?" Yeah, on the third ball, right? What'd you score for today? Oh, we were good. Yeah, try to talk to him about score. But I've got a video. This is the reaction. Every time I try to use my lot out there, the golf course has no problem putting that white stake right on my property line. But if I put a chair on my property line and try to live on it and have guests or anything else, I'm getting videoed. These women are so conditioned, they think they own my property. And I think the golf course thinks it owns my property. And the golf course reaction is, well, what are you doing sitting out there anyway? If you know golf balls are going to be flying in your yard all day, why would you sit out there anyway? Why would you subject your guests to trauma? Why would you do that if you know you're going to get hit all day? All right? And I do. These guys right now teeing off, each one of them could lose it to the right really easy. I'm within range of both of them. Both of them. All they have to do is have a mental fart at impact, and I'm it. Okay? Because I'm in range and down range. And that's another thing about safety. Andy, the golf gods here to run the course, they only think that only good shots are made. They think this is the PGA. It isn't the PGA. It's not the PGA. I gotta stop now, the battery's going dead. Okay, while I'm up here, I dragged up my hose, so I'm gonna try to show you, I'm cleaning my solar panels. What are you doing up there? You don't belong up there. They ain't got nothing better to do. Okay, you want to talk about encumbrances? Here's an encumbrance that's on my property. That solar panel got hit about 2 years ago, right after I got the window, the outer double pane window, the big bay window facing the street on the other house one morning. Got the outside pane broken by a golfer from the 5th tee. Okay? And about a week later, I was walking out on the property line, watering the plants, and I looked up, and it looked like one of those decals where a baseball hits a car window. That's what it looked like, a big splatter area. And that golf ball came from one of those tees over there. Okay? And that's about a $700 replacement cost. Okay? An encumbrance. Oh, here's a group of local boys. These are the locals that come through every morning. Okay? This group comes through every morning. One of them's my neighbor. One of them with that just hit, he used to use that cart path. He used to use it. He was one of the new guys that got here and started using the track day as a cart path. And about a year after he moved here and was using it on a daily basis, when they closed it and put the sign up in the rocks, this man rolled over and played dead. Didn't say a word. Went along with it. Right? Just went along with it. He got his pockets picked. He got his pockets picked. Okay? These guys go by every morning. This is what I'm saying. Anything I'm doing in that corner over there with them sandbags is to create privacy. I'm on display. Okay? You understand? I'm in a fishbowl. I'm in a fishbowl. I got two architectural committee men that are looking at my house every day. One parks across the street from me every day. The other one lives down the street from me. Anything I do to my lot, I get scrutinized. Now, everybody's looking up here wondering why I'm up here on my camera. Why I'm up here is I've had a lot of run-ins with these morons. All right? They don't like it when I sit out there with the camera. Why I'm out there with the camera is for security reasons. You understand? I got people walking on my property all day long. They hit balls in my yard. And if they hit a ball up there down 5 or 6 properties, they start searching for that ball that's down by Goodwill. They start searching at my property line. They walk right from the tee box up to my property line where that white stake is, and they walk down. And they're looking to do the Sundance two-step. If they see balls in somebody's yard, oh well, jackpot. We hit the lottery. Nobody's home. We'll just step over the line even if we have to walk on that guy's patio. That golf ball is more important. That's what I'm saying. Anybody that's going to buy a house in patio golf, your civil rights, you won't have any civil rights. You could have two guys just walk into your yard after hitting a ball in your yard, and you had an altercation with them. They shot you the bird. They called you a stupid old man. Everything else, called you an old dinosaur. So you call the police, okay? And you show them where the tee box is. You show this young man where the tee box is. You go, do you have an imagination? Why, what are you talking about? I go, do you play golf? No, I don't know anything about golf. Oh. All I know is every time somebody gets a broken window, I'm ordered to say it was an accident and it was unintentional. That's my whole opinion about everything that's happened. As far as you getting shelled every day, as far as you having to deal with incoming every day, as far as you having to deal with irradiation and harassment fire every day, and what I'm dealing with is a golf management team that has absolutely no safety. They don't care. They go as soon as the quicker he leaves, the better. Hopefully we'll get him one day where he blows up so friggin' bad that we can throw him in jail for a couple of years. All right? You know what post-traumatic stress disorder is? I got it. You know why? I've seen so many idiots out there that are 250 pounds, 24 years old, just bought $1,000 worth of clubs, and the guy at the store guarantees them you'll never hit a slice with this driver. You'll never hit a slice. That driver's got everything built into it that all you have to do is stand there and be stupid and hold on to it, and the driver will do the rest. Okay? That's the type of people I'm dealing with day in and day out that are coming on this golf course. And I'm going to close with one story. beyond where that guy is right now, the front of the long tee, that aircraft carrier they built out there. Last Saturday, I've said it before, this kid, a brand new golfer, he only brought one ball. He has to park down by the water on the corner, but he has to walk about 25 or 30 yards to hit the ball. He only brought one ball. He had his girlfriend in the cart. He was a complete and total newbie, novice, amateur, beginner. Had no clue. Okay, no clue. While I was watching TV, I had the dog with me. It was Saturday afternoon. I was probably watching golf, and all of a sudden, bang! I heard a ball hit the house. So I got up and I run out and I see this kid. He's probably, what, 21, 22, got his girlfriend. She's not golfing. They're out for a Saturday afternoon. Nobody ahead of him, nobody behind him. And I see him run back to the cart. And he picks up a box, brand new box of balls. Takes one out of the box. He runs up there and he hits another one from exactly the same spot, just after he just hit my house. So I waited for him right here on my property line when he went by, and he acknowledged. He goes, "I hope I didn't break anything up there. You all right?" And my immediate response to him was, "I can't believe you hit another ball from there. I can't believe that after hitting my house, you actually teed one up and hit another one." You know what his response to me was? He goes, "Well, I wasn't on the green yet. I wasn't on the green yet, so I had to hit another one." This is moron golf. Out there in YouTube land, you've never seen anything like this. I'm 72 years old. I grew up playing golf in a lot of places, okay? I often mention how spoiled the people are out here in Arizona, because they can play grip and rip, because you have all this spare space up here where they don't have to worry about losing a ball. You don't grow anything up here. You don't maintain it. You just give them a forgiveness area, a corridor of forgiveness or immunity where they can go back and play the longest tees and have a big, wide landing area. Forgiveness. Now, I'll tell you what, if we were back east, up in the mountains, where this course doesn't have a budget, it's a family-run course, they got old machines, old stuff, everything is old. They're trying to keep the business. They got about 4 or 5 months to make money. Okay, this strip of land, I'm going to follow it. This strip of land that follows the golf cart up there, if we were somewhere back east, Pennsylvania, in the mountains, the hills of Pennsylvania, upstate New York, anywhere, that would be so overgrown. That strip of land from the golf cart to my property line would be so overgrown, because year after year they'd either have to get up there and take it down or let it grow. Since you don't have to worry about doing anything to maintain this, all this is just a safety valve for our shitty golfers. Now, if I took your standard Buckeye, Sundance, grip and rip young golfer back to a course like that in upstate New York, by the time we got to the 10th hole, they'd be begging balls off everybody. They'd be begging the balls off everybody. If this was all overgrown with forests and stuff like that, the people on the tee box would think twice about aiming to the right up here. They might throttle back. It's like, oh no, here we go. If I try to grip and rip here, make the home run shot from this long tee box, I haven't made a shot like that all day, and it's the 6th hole. I don't know why I think I could start now. But that guy has to think, if I put it anywhere north of the cart path, it's a lost ball. It's a lost ball. We're upstate New York. These people are lucky if they can keep the goddamn thing mowed half the time. Lots of times when you go to these courses, everything will have a beard. The green will have a beard. The fairways will have a beard. They just don't have the budget to do it. And to think that you guys got all this room and all this space and all this budget, you got this going here, this going there, but you didn't buy enough land for your golf course. Put them stakes right down there on the cart path. Let everybody know anything north of those stakes, you lost the shot. You're out of bounds. And stay away from that property line up there. That's a private property. We're trying to protect our neighbors. Okay? There's none of that here. There's none of anything. There isn't anything where the golf course is concerned about the safety of the neighborhood. They don't care. And especially me, because I've chirped and I've complained and I've bitched about track day. Track day is out of compliance. All is will be. It was built to be out of compliance. Parcel 12 is a plantation. It's a southern plantation with slaves. I'm one of the slaves. When you tell me I have to drive way out there, you see that? That's the 7T box. I got to drive out there to go to the clubhouse when I'm paying for an access easement track day that's 40 feet from my house. Come on. Come on. You gutted the equity. There's no equity here. This is a plantation model. The people who live on each side of Tract A, whether they're landlords or absentee owners, they're absentee owners. Both of them. They're not local, they're not townies, they're not from Buckeye. They don't live here year-round. I live here year-round. I've lived here in the last 17 years. I've lived here, 16 years, going on 17. I've lived here all but 2 months. I've seen every hot day. I've seen every monsoon storm. I worked in it, all right? And to have people come from the Midwest and want to bring their farm out here, it's like we want the same. We don't have easements back in where we're from. We don't worry about easement. It's so open and wide and everybody has so much space. Why should we worry about easement? And they don't recognize our model here. They don't recognize our urban, high-density model where we're all supposed to rub elbows. They have no intention of coming out here and rubbing elbows with us. They feel like we're losers. Oh, we're not like these losers that have to live here year-round. We have options. We can go someplace else. These people live here year-round. I wouldn't live here year-round, and I don't live here year-round. They're losers, okay? These are colonials. They're colonial outsiders that come in here in October, around the beginning of October, and start laying down rules for everybody that's been here all summer. Stay off our property. Stay off that easement. That's ours. Ours exclusively. If you want communism, why don't you move back to New York or go back to Russia? This isn't New York, okay? This isn't socialism where everybody owns everything. This is free private enterprise. This is what the art of the deal. We put a deal together 15 years ago where we had this for ourselves forever and ever. The townies were in on it, okay? I'll close for now.